Hey, what's up everybody? Dr. Ray, and in this video we're talking about storyboarding. Storyboarding, for those of you creating any type of training in instructional design, teaching, curriculum development, learning experience design, whatever you want to call it, you're developing storyboards. Now what we're going to talk about, I'm going to talk about the different types and ways to storyboard and kind of when I use all and kind of how I really do it in my company, what we do when we storyboard. Now, one of the first things I do when I am, and I guess I should start out with what is a storyboard. So a storyboard is essentially a sketch or a mock-up of what the final thing is going to look like. It is a quality check, a quality check, quality check. It's a check so that my client or whoever is approving what you're developing can look at what you're doing and basically say, yes, that is correct. The other thing it is a lot of times, even now, we might have a graphic artist or someone develop our storyboards and then we take them. So it's a way for us to see like the flow of everything. Like, here's all the finals. Here's the way this is going to look. I can hand it off to the developer. They can take everything and run with it. That's what a storyboard is. Now, there are different types. So the first thing I want to talk about is called a paper prototype. And what a paper prototype is, you can see the image up on the screen. Paper prototype basically allows me to really quickly, so while I'm meeting with and talking with a client, I can sketch out some rough ideas of what I think they're going for. And in just a few minutes, like as they're talking, have a sketch for them and say, what do you think of this? Paper prototyping is a great way for me to get that template started. So one of the first things I do when I'm talking to anyone who wants some kind of curriculum design is I get that template started right away. While I'm figuring out what kind of content they want and this and that, I can get any logos they might have, figure out their color scheme, if they have specific color scheme, all that good stuff, and create that template while I'm waiting on all the other stuff that I might need to develop the course. Now, paper prototyping by itself doesn't work too great when we are not face-to-face. So when we're in online and Zoom, there are a few other options. I could paper prototype by like taking a picture. I could use like Zoom drawing tools. I could use PowerPoint, but a lot of times what I do is I usually am just probably showing them multiple examples and kind of putting it together on my notes of what I think it's going to look like. And then I'll send them a few mock-ups to choose from. It's a little more challenging to do online, but something that basically I'm doing 100% now. So it's kind of what we've done to get around that. All right, so that is the first kind of storyboard that I do, is really creating that template for the client. All right, the next kind of storyboard, and I'll put this up on the screen, is this was created in PowerPoint, and this is something I did years ago for a piece of software I was using for a research study. And basically what you can see on this storyboard is you can see notes to the developer, if there was a developer, or to myself. You can see all the files used, images. Now, this was developed in PowerPoint, but this is what a traditional storyboard looks like. It's got all the components of information that you might need. You create one of these for every single screen, and then either yourself, you can get this approved by your client, boom, start development, or get it approved and hand it off to the developer. They start development and you're good to go, right? You've got that quality check, you've got your storyboards, you got it all approved, you're ready to go. So now you can focus on development, not more design stuff. Now, realistically, I don't create storyboards like this at all. I haven't for a very long time. I don't use PowerPoint for storyboards anymore, and I kind of want to talk about the ways that I do it. So what I usually do, and there are kind of two different methods that I'm using, that we use at my company to create our storyboards. And the first one of those is that I actually use the software I'm going to be developing in to create my storyboard. So for example, if I'm using Adobe Captivate, Adobe Articulate, or Adobe Captivate, Articulate Storyline, or Articulate Rise, I'm probably just going to develop my storyboards in that piece of software. And the reason that we do that is it's super easy to develop in. I can usually do mock-ups really quick. I don't put all the details in. We don't do the actions and the SCORM stuff and stuff like that all right away. But we might develop the whole entire layout in those pieces of software, give it to the client, and let them make their feedback that way. It's a great way to cut down development time. It's super quick to develop with. It's just as easy as PowerPoint, and allows us to basically get started with our software in the storyboard phase. And so it is a good time saver, but we'll use Storyline, Captivate, or Rise to basically develop our storyboards. So that's what we do. We do that a lot, but what we've done more recently in the last 2 years is we've either used Adobe XD or Figma. And what those are, here, I'll pull up an example of Figma up on the screen. These are basically graphic pieces of software that we create our whole template, interface, all of our storyboards, put them in here. And what it allows us to do, you can see like the sample up on the screen, like looking at different interfaces. My clients can go through every single screen of the storyboard. They can see all, we can connect all the lines where everything's linked together, and they can actually see what it's going to look like, give us our approval, and then we'll take, the great thing about like Figma or Adobe XD is that we can actually take all those images and pull them right into Captivate or our Storyline, and it's all like ready to go. So super easy to pull from those pieces of software, but that's how we most often, especially with bigger clients who use those pieces of software for everything. We work with their graphic designers. They give us all the images in those pieces of software, and that's where we really develop from. All right. Pretty easy, right? So there's a bunch of different things you can do. We've got paper prototyping to start that template, or we're looking at examples. We've got PowerPoint. We can use PowerPoint, Word, whatever we want to use to create storyboards if we need to for our client. We can use the piece of software we're going to develop in to create the storyboards for our client. Or we can use something like Figma or XD to develop the storyboards in. So lots of different options for you. Which is right? The right one is the one that works for you and your client for the project that you're on. All right, y'all? You have any questions? Let me know. Later.